We're about to conduct the final visit of our 10-part visit to Radha Kund. Radha Kund is the most sacred place in the universe, according to Rupa Gosvami. And during this Kartik month, Radha Kund made her appearance on the Ashtami day of the waning moon. And we're still in the Kartik month, visiting the places of Krishna's pastimes in various locations. But this is the beginning part, and we're about to conclude visiting Radha Kund. Here's a map of where we're going to be visiting. And if you look down at the bottom right, you'll see a little blue arrow right here. This indicates right here is the sitting place of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And just going west slightly is the sitting place of Radha and Krishna. Almost across the street of that place is a little temple of Lakshmi Narayana. And then we're going to go to the Madan Mohan temple. And then we're going to go to the Sangam. That's where that strong blue arrow is. This one. This is the Sangam, the juncture between the two kunds. And finally we're going over here, where it's the sitting place of Lord Nityananda and the temple of Madhu Pandit, the temple of, there's some deities of Gopinath. So we're going to hear a little bit about the life of Madhu Pandit. And that will conclude our circumambulation of Govardhan. We began right over here with visiting Gokulananda, the temple of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and then so forth all the way around and all the way around. And now, hopefully, you're a little bit more familiar with the geography, the layout of Radha Kund. So let us begin. There you see a different direction of a map of the sitting place where Lord Chaitanya sat. Small. There's no deity. There's literally just a little sitting place. And there's different paintings, large paintings, like mural-sized paintings on the outside and on the inside. And you see, looking out the window, on the inside, there's Shamakund. Shamakund is the body of water that you see on the other side. And looking on the right side, that's some of the buildings, and just, immediately to the left of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sitting place. Now there's going to be another recording in a next click. This is Sachinandan Swami being recorded speaking at this place, Lord Chaitanya's sitting place. You'll see the sitting place and you'll see Lord Chaitanya.
Meditate on the beautiful form of Lord Gauranga. Lord Hari is in his heart. Lord Hari is in his meditation. And he always chants the name of Hari. Gaura Chanda is intoxicated by ecstatic mellows and rolls around on the ground while singing and singing Harinam.
Very enthusiastic. Wanted to capture some of that. This is the painting that you've been seeing at the beginning of each of the presentations, and just covering the form of Lord Chaitanya raising his arms is the form of Radharani. But as we know, they're non-different, and this is depicting Lord Chaitanya finding Radha Kund. Now, the description is it's not a big lake like this. It was an agricultural field and a pond of water in an agricultural field. So now we're going to go a little bit further around Shamakund, and we're going to see a sitting place. There you see the map, and there you see on the right side, now the image has changed. It's a little platform, and it looks pretty simple. But the understanding of that little platform is it's a sitting place of Radha and Krishna, and they would enjoy their pastimes together. Here it shows them playing some kind of a game, not a chess game, but some kind of a game on a board. I don't know what that game is. Huh? I don't know what that is. Okay. So this artist depicts Radha and Krishna playing that game together on this little platform, and whatever else they did for their pastimes. So now, moving quickly across the street is the little Lakshmi Narayana deity in a small temple. Not, ostentatious, but it's a form of Lakshmi Narayan. And look closely at the features. The form of the deity is very nice. Very nice. And moving along a little bit further is the Radha Madan Mohan temple. Now, Radha, Madan Mohan were worshipped by Sanatana Gosvami. And he has a number of places. Certainly, the main place is in Vrindavan town with that celebrated architecture of their temple. And his samadhi is there also. He spent some substantial time by the side of Manasi Ganga. His bhajan kutir is over there. And when we did our Govardhan Parikrama, we visited that place. And here, just at the end of Shamakund, before we go to the Sangam, is where his temple is. You go inside the gate, and there's what you see. There's on the left side, the sitting place of Sanatana Goswami, and on the right side, you see the deities. And a very wonderful pastime occurred here, amongst many. But as you know, Rupa Goswami looked to his elder brother, Sanatana Goswami, in many, many ways. And one of them was he sought his brother's approval. Could we go back to the full screen? Yeah, thanks. He sought his brother's approval for his writing. So he asked him, Rupa asked Sanatana to read something that he had recently written. Sanatana read it. He didn't say anything, but he said, I'll comment later. And Rupa left. And the part that he objected to in his mind was a description of Radha and the gopis having long black braids down their back that looked like serpents. So this is an image from the internet. They're not taking water from Shama Kund, but directly across from where he had his little temple in Bhajan Kutir is the Manasa Pavangat. We visited Manasa Pavangat earlier, place where the gopis every day would take their bath at noon, and then Krishna would come and join them after lunch. He'd slip away and join with the gopis, and they'd have their pastimes here by the side of Shamakund and Radha Kund. So Sanatana Goswami felt uncomfortable with this description of the braid of Radha looking like a serpent crawling up her back. And after some time later in the day, he went to take his bath at Shamakund, and as he was gazing across Shamakund by the side of Manasa Pavangat, he saw some young Brijbasi girls playing. And while they were playing, he saw what looked to him like a serpent crawling up the back of one of the young girls. And he called out, "Look out! There's a serpent crawling up your back." And one of the girls turned around, smiled broadly, and then poof, she and her friends just disappeared. So Sanatana Goswami understood what that meant. It was Radharani saying she liked that expression. So later, the next day or some days later, Rupa came to visit his brother. "How'd you like?" He said, "I especially liked the part about the snake crawling up the back." Very nice poetic description. A little background on Sanatana Goswami worshipping Radha Madan Mohan. We didn't discuss this yet. This is our verse from our Mangalacharana prayers where Madan Mohan is being glorified as the Sambandha Tattva deity. So you know the verse. Jayatam surato pangor mama manda mater gati mat sarvasva padambo jo Radha Madana Mohano. Radha Madana Mohano. Glory to the all-merciful Shri Radha and Madan Mohan. They are the only shelter of my depraved and crippled self. Their lotus feet are the be-all and end-all of my life. Now, certainly that was the case for Sanatana Goswami. Now, the deity, we're going to have a little bit of history of the deity, but the deity was installed in a temple, little Bhajan Kutir type size temple, and then later this large prominent structure was built. You see a group, a parikrama group, assembled there in the shade of the temple, and the entrance to the temple itself is around over on this side. You have to go into the temple right in here, and there you can see the deities I'm about to show you. And in the background is the Jamuna, of course, and many other buildings. The Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi is in this direction. It's on the other side of that wall. You see a wall here, and go down some steps, and that's where his Samadhi is. And we already saw that Samadhi structure earlier. The deities that are presently being worshipped in the temple that's in this image here are these deities. Lalita Saki is on the right side of Krishna, and Radha is on the left side of Krishna. The original deities were installed by Vajranabha, the great-grandson of Krishna, and they were found by Advaita Acharya in a location at the foot of this hill, Dwadasha Aditya Tila it's called. When Krishna came out of the Kaliya lake, which is not so far away, there's a description that he was chilled because he'd been in the water for so long and he wanted to get warm, so he went to the top of this hill and requested many suns to come and warm him. Dwadasha Aditya Tila. And he became warm. So many suns. Quickly his body became warm. So at the base of this hill is a place where Advaita Acharya stayed. Previously we visited the Radha Kund location where Advaita Acharya worshipped some deities and spent some time. But he also spent some time in Vrindavan town. And this tree is known as the Advaita Vat. And in the base of this tree, he found, much to his surprise, the deity of Madan Mohan. Not Radha, but Madan Mohan. And he worshipped the deity of Madan Mohan. And after some time, he returned back to his home in West Bengal. And before he left, he entrusted the worship of the deity to a Brahmana in Mathura named Purushottam Chaube. Purushottam Chaube made a friendship, or Sanatana Goswami made a friendship with him. And there's a very detailed description. When Sanatana Goswami went to visit, because he would regularly go to homes and preach, accept alms, and give Krishna conscious association to the villagers. And even in Mathura, he would sometimes go. So Purushottam Chaube lived there, and the deity desired to have Sanatana Goswami worship him. The man was worshipping in an irregular way. And the deity appeared in Purushottam Chaube's dream, said, "I want to be worshipped by that sadhu." And very reluctantly, he went to visit Sanatana Goswami, who denied, how am I going to worship a deity? And the deity then appeared in Sanatana Goswami, just offer whatever you have. And he said, "But I don't have." He said, "Well, you eat something." So he ended up accepting from Sanatana Goswami, there's a name for it, a local name, but just wheat flour mixed with water and put in a ball and put in a fire. I forget the name. Anybody know the name? Bati. Yes, that's it. So after some time, that's what he offered. It's a nice story. Can I also have some salt? Sorry, it can take you back to Purushottam Chaube's place. I don't have salt. No, it's okay. Just offer what you have. And then, you know the story. Sometime shortly thereafter, a merchant heading for Agra, going up the Jamuna, got stuck on a sand dune, didn't know what to do. He went to where Sanatana Goswami was. He disembarked from the boat, and Sanatana Goswami said something will happen. So he went, and the boat got dislodged, and the money that he gained from selling his boatload of salt he used to build the Madan Mohan temple, the one you saw a little while ago. And there's many nice paintings. This is one of Sanatana Goswami making offerings of bhakti to Madan Mohan. And he engaged in this worship, or engaged others in this worship for his life. But when the risk of the deities, the principal deities of Vrindavan, occurred too many times, they were all shifted to Jaipur, including Madan Mohan. And here's a photograph of Madan Mohan in his actual deity form. There's a little history of how Radha and Lalita came by his side. How it happened was, it was a desire of the son of King of Puri. And his name is escaping me. Prataparudra's son wanted to do some service, so he provided two deities of Radharani. One was to be installed by the side of Govindaji, and the other was to be installed by the side of Madan Mohan. And as you can see, they're both about the same height, but the deity of Govindaji is very big. And when Janava came to see before the installation, she thought in her mind, this Radha is too small. But she didn't say anything. And that night, the Madan Mohan Pujari, who everyone respected as being the right one to do this installation ceremony, had a dream in which Radha, who was to be by the side of Govindaji, appeared in his dream and said, Govindaji said, she's too small. And she's not Radha anyway, she's Lalita. So place her by the side of Madan Mohan. So everyone accepted the word of the Pujari, and instead, the next day, the installation was Radha and Lalita. And then later, a deity of Radharani was brought to be installed by the side of Govindaji. But that's a little bit of the history. And then after some time, when several generations passed, in Jaipur, Madan Mohan was being worshipped very nicely. And the princess of the king was proposed to be married to the prince of Karoli. And she was very reluctant. She didn't want to leave Madan Mohan to go to Karoli. So she finally agreed to being married to the prince in Karoli if Madan Mohan can come with her, because she was too attached. And so on that basis, nice place of worship for Madan Mohan was established in Karoli, and it's really fantastic. Well-attended ceremonies. Here's a closer image of Madan Mohan. And here's one that's even better resolution. You can see the features of his face and Radha and Lalita. And notice his flute is bent because his hands are not stretched out like one would have one's hands holding a straight flute. So his flute has two different directions. Fantastic. Very, very, very merciful deity. Very merciful deity. Here's a photograph of the deity. And on a special occasion, the special occasion is once after the Krishna Leela dance, the Rasa dance, Krishna was resting under a tree when the gopis stole his crown and flute. They gave them to Srimati Radharani, who dressed, as you see on the right, as a king. And Krishna had to become her doorkeeper to get his crown and flute back. So there he's carrying a sword and a shield, and he's being the gatekeeper of Radha, who was dressed like a king. The particular day during the year when this pastime is commemorated. The deities that are presently in Vrindavan town are very attractive deities, you see here. And he has a straight flute. And we're now going to go from the Madana Mohana temple of Sanatana Gosvami to the Sangam. There you see the little red arrow, how to go from Madana Mohana temple to the Sangam. And Sangam just means a juncture place between the two. It served as a meeting place for Radha Kund and Shama Kund, and then naturally a meeting place for Radha and Krishna. There's little altars. We'll see some images of those little altars that the sadhus who are tending to the deity sitting here. And they're not, it's very small. Very small. There's supposed to be some music, I think. Yeah. The waters of Radha Kund and Shama Kund mix underneath the Sangam, and it's a place where they would enjoy their pastimes together. One of the temples on the Sangam is the Bankai Bihari temple, similar name as in the town. And in the front side, as you see, there's some Shilas, Govardhan Shilas, worshipped in that style. Around the other side, there's a Gopinath temple. Excuse me, not at the Sangam, but just up some steps and along the path. Now we're turning again on the side of Radha Kund. And as you move along, this is now the actual parikrama path where people who are doing the entire Govardhan parikrama and may not stop and visit Radha Kund and Shama Kund and the details, ways that we've done. It's a place where there's many pilgrims that engage in Dandabats parikrama daily. This is Prabhupada singing from the Shad Goswami Ashtaka. Raghunath Das Goswami showed how to live in Radha Kund. He was circumambulating Radha Kund, falling down, making a mark. That is Radha Kund Vasi. Not only counted holy names, but offering obeisances so many hundred times. So much vairagya he showed. He can take bath in Radha Kund. First of all, do this like Raghunath Das Goswami, who Prabhupada was indicating at this particular time, 1976. Don't be so eager to take bath in Radha Kund. Be eager to be humble, offer obeisances to the Vaishnavas, being respectful, and do this Dandavats Parikrama. Now, he didn't do his Dandavats Parikrama around Radha Kund. He circumambulated Radha Kund. But, he's saying he was circumambulating Radha Kund, falling down, making a mark, like many pilgrims do. The mark is they place a rock at their up by their head, and then stand, move to where the rock is, put their feet there, and circumambulate the rest of the way. And we're nearly done. This last place is the temple of Radha Gopinath. As you see, it's circled on the left side. Here's the deities, the Pratibu deities of Radha Gopinath. And the deity of Radha Gopinath has a long history. It's one of the sets of deities that were originally created by Vajranabh, installed in Vrindavan, but in course of time the original deities were lost. So there's two different versions that I'm aware of. One is, as you see this painting, this is an ISKCON artist. You look closely on the right side by the tree, you see a pair of eyes, and that's the Gopinath Deity. Now, he was bathing by the side of the Jamuna River. There, one version I've heard consistently is there was a place near Vangshivat where the mud from the Jamuna had covered the deity, but as he was taking his bath, he saw the deity slightly uncovered, and he excavated the deity from there and began worshipping the deity. And there's other varieties of how it was discovered. And another version says one of his disciples found the deity, and he accepted the worship of the deity on behalf of his disciple. Madhu Pandit was otherwise known as Madhu Goswami, but he was given the title Pandit because he was a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. And other than deity worship, what he was particularly noted for, like Gadadhar Pandit, was his absorption in Srimad Bhagavatam. We read this, we spoke about this yesterday evening. It is said that he would cry and cry and cry, just like Gadadhar Pandit would cry and cry spontaneously, just reading the verses of the Bhagavatam. Now, it didn't have the elaborate commentaries that we have and so forth, but he was a lover of Krishna, and Krishna in the form of the Bhagavatam and Krishna in the form of Gopinath were well known by him. Here's in Jaipur, the original deity of Gopinath. Very beautiful. It's a little, it's not where all the other deities are, but it's a very beautiful little temple. And there's always visitors there. On the side of the temple, as you walk in to the far right corner, this is a cape that was worn by Madhu Pandit. It's a cape of Tulsi beads. Now, it doesn't seem to be, for warmth or anything other than just having Tulsi on his body. And this is what he wore. A cape of Tulsi beads. And on the other, back to Radha Kund, in that same courtyard where the Gopinath deities are, there's the sitting place of Lord Caitanya. And we're going to go take a close look inside the sitting place of Lord Caitanya, Lord Nityananda, excuse me. Lord Nityananda somehow knew that this was the place of Radha Kund because Lord Caitanya had not discovered it yet. Could you move the mouse from the screen? Thank you. Nonetheless, he spent time in this particular location, and one of the many, many, many Vaishnavas, in this case the Lord himself, spent time spent time by the side of Radha Kund. Lord Nityananda spent time in a number of places. One of those places is near Imlital, and by the Jamuna River, down in the Vrindavan town. Another very sacred place for Lord Nityananda. So we have now completed our tour of Radha Kund. There's some more recording here. There's a nice little image of the 6 Goswamis. And by the mercy of the 6 Goswamis, and of course by the mercy of Lord Caitanya, they made their residence here in Vrindavan, and they became very attracted to Radha Kund. And so there's a large or distant elevated photograph. Here's the Sangam. There's the sitting place of Janava. Right next to her sitting place is the temple of Gopinath. Over here is the Manasa Pavangat. There's the Pilu bush. There's the Bhima tree, remember? And over here, these little structures, this is the Bhajan Kutir of several, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Raghunath Das Goswami and Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, etc. Where this is